Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, I'm going to give you a complete tour of the space station that I've been building. So I've been working on this space station for about 5 years now, on and off, just in my spare time. It all started as a way for me to display my toy collection. I have kept every toy since I was a little kid. And it just was in boxes, in closets, just packed away. And I wanted it all out on display. Now, going back quite a few years, I had a room where everything was displayed in, half of it was in its original boxes. And it was just a display room. And then one day, I just started opening the toys and taking some of the really old toys, a lot of my Star Wars toys, out and displaying them outside of the box. And then later I just thought, wow, it would be really cool to build a giant space station to display all of these. So let me go through what I've done so far and my thought process on this. So first, let me give you an overall view. It goes from floor to ceiling, so there's actually 12 levels to this space station, starting at the floor all the way to the ceiling. 12 levels. So if you like what you're seeing and you'd like to see daily photos of my progress on this, please follow me on Instagram at Jason Jensen Toys. Again, that's Instagram at Jason Jensen Toys. I'll put it right here on the screen for you. Now, you may have already noticed that there's different scale action figures. So let me explain my thought process. On the upper level, there's actually going to be 3 levels. And the very top level is 2-inch figures, and we go down to possibly some 2.5-inch figures, and then 3-inch figures. So on that level, all the way around, there's 3-inch figures. And again, up towards the ceiling, I'll show you over here, you have 2-inch figures. Okay, moving down to the next level, you have 3 3/4-inch figures, and that goes from that level up there to there. Now, when we get down to this level, we start introducing some 4-inch figures. So again, 3 3/4 through here, and then right on this level here, you have 4-inch figures. Then we start to drop below and we get into 6-inch figures. Then from, say, that level down, you get to 7, possibly even some 8-inch figures. Now, you may have noticed the different colors. So the yellow is for fuel. Off of that, I will have fuel lines where people can fuel their spaceships. But it'll run all the way down. Now the green is more structural. You'll see there's green columns. Now the red is for electrical. And all of the large robots are what power the station. So they are permanent. They are just there to power the station. So there'll be lots of wires and hoses going to those red pipes. I did forget to mention that the fuel is Zilla fuel, and it's imported from Amrak Spot. And that is modeled off of an actual YouTuber, a friend of mine. I'll put his YouTube channel up on the screen. That fuel is created by Dino Waste. So I have this toy here that I'm going to turn into a statue for a huge advertisement for Zilla fuel. And it's probably going to sit on the end here or up here. Yeah, probably right there on the end. Big sign so that people know that they can get Zilla fuel on this space station. So like I had mentioned, the large robots power the station, and it's powered by Battronics. And you'll notice there are bat symbols here and there. It's not for Batman. It is Battronics. And they power the station. So the entire station is the Drek space station. So on the Drek space station, you have the Drek trading post. Now in here, I will have shelves that line the walls with tons of merchandise. Anything from guns to food, you name it. Spare parts, everything can be purchased from there. Now above it, we have Fast Eddie oil change. So you can bring your speeder bikes here to get an oil change and possibly some maintenance. Now above that, We'll have a maintenance area for mech suits. I have a lot to do in this area yet. We'll put another door, just like here. And we'll have lots of wires and chains and pulleys hanging down from the ceiling. And notice the floor. This allows the light. Sorry, I don't have my lights on right now. I don't know why. Right here, these light up. And that'll put light down all the way through here. Okay, let's go around the corner and we'll talk about this area. Again, our floor is screen. This over here will be a large diner with all outdoor seating here on this level. A wide variety of food here. Okay, then you walk over through here and this is the bar area. Sorry, it's a mess. Everything's just laying around on there. And that brings us down to the sewer system for the space station. Now I plan to pour resin in here, and I might tint it with a little bit of green. And I'll have it running out of the pipes there. This is all just pink styrofoam. I actually cut all the individual bricks. And this is just cardboard from a cereal box with little jewels on it for rivets. So everything on the back wall is from Nerf guns. Then I used a couple of Red Bull cans. Added some pipes to it. We have some bubblegum tape dispensers back here. We have the handle of a kid's lightsaber and hair rollers. Everything and anything. The tunnel there, you can see how long it is. It's actually 2 coffee cans, Folgers coffee cans, the red ones. Okay, we'll go back up to the top. We have Red Hook. Now, this is the biggest place on the space station for getting vehicle or droid parts and having repairs done. And you'll see there's an elevator that brings you down And, you know, I'm going to have a box around that so it actually looks like it goes up to the next level. So you come down and there's a couple different levels here for maintenance, and then we'll have a large area here. This gets covered in with that mesh. So we'll have this whole area and this area out here for a work area for maintenance. So I want to point out that most every single toy will eventually be painted on here and weathered. So like this here, that's been completely weathered. And this big toy here has been completely painted and weathered. And we're always working on the backgrounds. Here's some more painted figures. I'm sure you recognize that robot from Buzz Lightyear. This is a Zoid dinosaur. It was completely white and gray. I'll put an image up on the screen for you of what it looked like before. This is something I painted recently. Again, I'll show you a before picture of it. We have another elevator there. Now I know a lot of these look like kid toys right now, and I'll show you what I do. This Batman figure turns into this. So I just simply cut the ears off and then paint it. And I wanted these figures to look like these guys. Or I may even 3D print this silver winged skull to put on their chest. So to pull off the illusion of the forced perspective, you'll notice these yellow figures up here. I believe those are maybe 2 inches tall. Then you come down here and you have the same robots. These are 3 3/4 inch tall. Then you come down here and you have the same robot 6 inches tall. So it just gives you the illusion of height. Makes sense. It's up all the way at the ceiling, so it would be smaller. So real quick, we'll have long hallways that go all the way through. These big white boxes will not be there. They're just holding up that level. And there's doors to get through. So I designed this entire area and then laser cut it all. There's another area up here. It's just not painted yet. This may end up being sort of a welcoming center to the space station. And there'll be areas where you can pull up and tie off your vehicles and have them sort of park here floating. Let me show you quick. So I have this, and I want to have it parked right there. So I'll put rods coming out of this side, then drill holes in there, and then just slide that in right there. And I'll do the same with like that speeder bike. The speeder bike can be on the side right there. So I'll just put a metal rod coming out of the side of it and then drill holes. I'll actually drill holes through different levels. You could put one right here, drill a hole, and then just put that in like it's floating right there on the side. So below that, we have another garage, another maintenance place. And I'll probably have maybe 2 or 3 speeder bikes up here. Lots of workers, tools, a ton of details in there. Then you can go through that door right there. And I'll have that catwalk continue. I'll put a door here, and you'll walk up on this level right here. We have another big maintenance area for ships. And then this area is to work on mech suits. I'm not quite sure. Maybe more work areas for maintenance. And obviously more, we'll do fueling. I'll have fuel lines and smaller pumps everywhere. Okay, this area over here, there's a large crane. Now, I didn't mention, but up here, you'll see, this is going to be a train. And that train will loop on this side, go all the way around, and it'll loop around that pole. It'll loop out here and go back. So it's just continuous run. Come back, and it'll loop on this side. Now that crane takes waste, garbage, old metal parts off the train, lowers it down. There's another train down here, and there'll be tunnels. This will actually be rock back here. And it goes back in, and they melt down all of the waste. So this pink styrofoam that you're seeing all gets carved to look like rock. So that's all rock. Comes up, and then it gets smaller. That rock will go back up into that corner. I'm going to take that gun out, that Nerf gun, and that's all going to be rock going back up in there. Now there's a second train that runs on this level, and it'll go behind that crane there, come out, circle above that track there. It'll just circle, come back in, and you can see I already start to have the pillars for it. So it'll run along here, more pillars, keep going. And I think it'll run on there, right across there. I'm going to have to do some more pillars. It'll come across here and then circle all the way here, and then go back through all the way back over to the corner. So then we have lots of levels down here. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these catwalks will continue. So it'll maybe continue across here and then go over right there. Same with this side. It'll continue and then go over and connect right there. This all gets carved. It all gets carved to look like rock, so it's not going to look like this. So I'll definitely have more of these graded catwalks and more of the stairs so that you can get all the way down to this level here. Now down here, you'll see there's a small door right there. I'm going to make that bigger. I'm going to take off the small doors and then make 2 big ones. And then this all gets carved into rock. So the catwalk comes over. There might be a couple, 1 or 2 steps to get up to this level. Maybe the catwalk will go in front of him, and there'll be stairs on the other side so you can get up to here. This will continue out a little ways, and then there'll be another set of stairs just like that there. So yeah, these catwalks continue, and then there'll be stairs to get up to the different levels and down to the bottom. So the whole lower level, from this level right here down, is all rock, and I want it to look like the Bat Cave. I think on this area over here, I might even have some stalactites hanging down. Now over here, this is all rock. So I'm going to make that R2 unit look like it's carved right into the rock. I'll put cracks in it and do some carving on it with the Dremel tool, and I'll have it blend right into all of the rock work and then just paint it to match. So here is a large robot that's being worked on. I laser cut all of the scaffolding. So it'll all get painted yellow and have boards on there with people working on it. I may remove some panels, have lots of wires hanging out of it. So I had mentioned the whole lower level is rock. So I'm going to continue that rock up through the center to hide the pole. And that rock may go all the way up to the ceiling. So again, this will all be rock with cutout areas and elevator doors and catwalks coming off of it going that direction, stairs going down. I like this area here because you can see all the way through. So you can see I have a couple doors there. I'll have a door there and then put one over here with a catwalk that goes across that area there over to this side. And then it comes out over here. Most of you probably saw the video where I made this. Now that'll continue all the way down over there and all the way to that corner. So as you can see, the wires connect to the buildings. So all of the buildings along here, all those wires will connect. So I recently sprayed this with a gray primer. I took out the glass so I wouldn't get paint on it, and then after it's painted and weathered, I'll put it back in. But this is the original Falcon from when I was a little kid. Now, believe it or not, I have the box. I have the original box for this. I have the instructions. I think it came with a little advertisement from Kenner for other toys. I kept all of it. And now it's great to be enjoying it again. This is a Buzz Lightyear ship. I may have some ramps, maybe some stairs, I'm not sure. Or maybe connecting over to this level here. I moved the Falcon so that you could see. These two right here are water guns. I love adding all the wires and hoses. Now this is part of a Nerf gun. Same with this over here. Now eventually I want to have wires going from this side draped over to this side here. As you can see, I love adding wires and hoses. So underneath each level, I'm adding these. Now I laser cut these, and there's two different size straws that I'm running through them. So you have a regular drinking straw, and then I think the bottom one is like a coffee stir. So I build the entire station out of this rough wood because it's really inexpensive. And then a lot of times I just paint it gray so I'm not looking at bare wood. But then eventually it all gets covered. And I cover it with mat board. You can buy mat board at Michael's or online. Any art supply store should have mat board. And it's used for framing pictures. It's thick and sturdy, takes paint really well. And then I just smear glue on the entire area and lay it down, put some weights on it, let it dry. And then I'm just adding rust to all the edges. And this here is all pink styrofoam. So you can see right here, same stuff. This entire building is made from packing material. I think it was from my big screen TV. And I've had so many people ask me why I left the texture of the styrofoam, why I didn't cover it with something. And in the future, buildings are 3D printed. So they bring in machines, set them up, and this is all 3D printed. And that's the texture of the 3D print. Notice the architecture up here, and notice how everything's a little cleaner, very futuristic looking. And then as you go lower, things get dirtier, more rusty, and it'll actually get darker the lower you go. And then we get into dirty rock at the bottom, and I'm actually going to make it look like it's kind of wet on the very bottom surface, like it's damp. A good trick for height is to have the same color, like this green, run all the way through it, up and down. Same with yellow or red. Just have those colors go all the way from the floor to the ceiling. And it really provides some height, or the illusion that it's really tall. I recently purchased this, and it's a collapsible seat that you can get off Amazon. And it's really strong once it's set up. I mean, you could fully sit on that and you'd be fine. So I'm going to spray that with the green color, and then we'll add lots of control panels and details along the bottom. We'll have wires going over to the robot and to control panels. And then on top of it, that is a collapsible crate. So that's the bottom. You get two sides that look like that. I don't think I have the end piece on here. I may have cut it, but they work perfect. Then I think most of you know the grates up here are for the bottom of a fish tank. Let me quick talk to you about this train. So you won't see the wheels. I'm going to put panels on the side so that the wheels are covered. Now, this is the engine. I'm just going to simply cut out the bottom, take this engine right here, and put it inside it. Then you can see, I don't have it all laid yet, but you can see the track. And that same track will be down on this level, on top of these pillars. And we'll do another train down here. So I'm just using HO scale train. Again, hollow out the bottom and put that inside it. And then for the cars, I'll use HO scale like box cars or tank car, any type of train car, and then again hollow out the bottom and put those inside it. I almost forgot. Here's another project that I'm working on that's a much smaller scale. Now these are Star Wars Squadron. And again, this will all be rock. I'm going to make this look like it's all carved into the side of a mountain. And then I'll have the rock work actually go almost all the way to the ceiling, and we'll have other little smaller buildings and landing pads. And then I bought all of these, and these get put along the back and on the sides, and then we have all of these detail parts, and then these get put all along the ceiling with pipes and wires. Now this scale is pretty close to HO scale in model railroading, so you can use a lot of the detail parts and figures from HO scale. And again, it'll go from here all the way to the ceiling. Well, as you can see, a lot of plans for this, and it's taken me 5 years to get to this point. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like in another 5 years. This is so fun. I consider this to be my hobby. This is my downtime, my time to relax. I just love it. And my favorite part of doing all of this is painting my old toys. I get to enjoy them all again. So I enjoyed them as a little kid. I enjoyed them as an adult in a display room. And now I'm enjoying them again, painting them and photographing them. So my ultimate plan when this is all finished is to do toy photography. And I will just be able to photograph every inch of this, moving figures around, moving spaceships around, and just photographing it and having fun. Now everything will be glued in place except for figures and spaceships. But all of the little parts that you see, the crates, it's all glued down. I may have a box of crates that I set aside for when I do photography, but most everything's going to be glued in place. Well, as you can see, this will take me years to complete this. And I'm not so concerned about finishing it, because the fun part is the journey of building it. I hope you enjoyed this complete tour of the space station and where I'm at so far, and where we're going to be going with it. And I hope you're along for the ride. Take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos on my progress on this. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. Until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone. Again, that's Instagram at Jason Jensen Toys.